Travel with me in your mind to a country far away from here. And travel with me in that country into a prison. Now, this prison is very dark, very ugly, very dingy, very not a nice place to be, very cold. And as we go through walking down the corridors of this dungeon, we look into the cells. In each of the cells, there's people. And they've done something very wrong. They've killed somebody. They've stolen something. They've done some very wicked crime. And you can tell it. They have hatred on their faces. They have pain, anger. But as we come to one cell, something is different about the person in that cell. He's calm. He's peaceful. He's even happy. And he's so different from everybody else, all the other criminals, that we have to find out what he did. So we ask. And what he did was tell people what he believed about Jesus. That was his only crime. It was obvious that he'd been mistreated, beaten, very, very much mistreated. Now, put yourself in his shoes. You're all Christians. If you were in his place, in his cell, going through the same terrible things that he was going through, would you still be faithful? Would you still be a Christian? As I put myself in his shoes, in his cell, in my mind, I had to think there's something more to being a Christian than just because my friends are Christians, or because my parents are encouraging me to be Christians, or because it's convenient to be a Christian. There's got to be more than that. Because in this imaginative case, which isn't really imaginative, there's a lot of people going through that. You know, the families disowned him. His friends have left him. And he's suffering as a result of it, but he still remains a Christian. So there's 3 reasons why I'm a Christian. Perhaps they're simple reasons, but they're very profound, and they're really reasons why I'm a Christian and why I want to stay a Christian. First of all, Jesus created me, and he loves me. But as a result of my sins, I'm separated from him. But he died to rescue me from the penalty of sin so that I don't have to be separated from him anymore. And he's coming back very soon so that we won't be separated forever after that point. So, when Jesus created the world, he created everything perfect, right? He created every tree, every flower, every animal, every bird, with the best he could do. But when he made humans, he did something different. It was a masterpiece of his creation. It was the absolute best he could do. He couldn't have done any better. He created them to be his children, to be his friends, to be able to talk with him. But when they chose to disobey him, to do what they wanted to do, to listen to Satan's ideas instead of God's, they had to be separated. And this separation is painful for Jesus. It was so painful that Jesus wanted to do something to stop that separation, to bring them back together. The worst thing about separation was that the penalty for sin is eternal death, death that lasts forever, that permanent separation. The only solution for this problem was for God himself to die, to take the penalty for the sin that I did, to take the punishment that I should take, and take that penalty so that I don't have to take that penalty for myself. As John 3:16 says, "For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish but have eternal life." Jesus gave his life so that you don't have to be a slave to sin anymore. He gave his life so that I don't have to choose to follow sin, follow my sinful desires, but so that I can choose to follow him. As a result of that, as a result of his sacrifice, I can come to him in prayer and ask him to help me overcome the things that I struggle with. And I've experienced that many times. I was coming to him, asking him for help, and he does help. But even though Jesus has suffered the penalty for the sins, we're still separated. We're still on earth. He's still in heaven. We still can't see each other. We can't have the communication that he really wants. So perhaps the best part of this, the plan that God had to redeem us from the sin, to bring us back together again, was that he's coming back very soon to take us to heaven to be with him forever, so that we won't have to be separated anymore. In Jesus' home, there's going to be no more temptation to sin. There's going to be no more death, no more suffering, nothing at all of the things that Satan has done now to try to make our lives as miserable as possible on this earth. Jesus longs for this reunion so that we won't have to be separated anymore. Recently, my brother was talking to a friend who was very discouraged. In fact, he was basically ready to give up on God. Jonathan, who's my brother, asked him, "What, if you give up on God, what is there left?" My friend answered very sorrowfully, "There's nothing more." So, why do I choose to follow Jesus? Because he loves me? Because he died so that I don't have to take the penalty for sin, so that we can be together with him forever, so that this separation can end. If I give up on Jesus now, what else is there?